Texas Rangers are back in Arlington for a huge 10-game homestand for the Labor Day weekend. They have to face off against the Central Division leaders, the Minnesota Twins, and then the Houston Astros are coming to town next week. Labor Day is going to be real busy for Ranger fans. There are a ton of promotions coming up over the weekend. Get a rundown from John Blake. He's the Executive Vice President of Communications for the Rangers, and he is in the KRLD Zoom room. John, as always, thank you so much for the time.
Happy to be here.
So, my goodness, you've got a lot of things going on this weekend. How do you keep it all straight?
Well, there's a lot of people probably smarter than I am that coordinate all these things. But yeah, I mean, I think there's something for everybody. First of all, obviously, this is a very important 9-game homestand for us here to start the month of September. As you mentioned, David, the Twins, who are leading the Central Division, we lost 3 out of 4 to them last weekend. And then the Astros, who will start this weekend a game ahead of us in the standings. It's important for a lot of reasons. They have a 6-4 lead in the series this year, and that tiebreaker could come into effect. You know, if you finish in a tie, then the head-to-head becomes into effect. But getting back to I mean, we're very lucky. We have a lot of stuff going on this weekend for a lot of different people. We've got these special theme nights, obviously, the whole homestand. We have Yellowstone night on Friday night. If you're into that, Star Wars night is Saturday night. If you're into that, again, you can get that information at texasrangers.com. And then 2 great giveaways this weekend. We have a Jacob deGrom replica jersey giveaway. And despite the fact he's on the disabled list, obviously a very popular player, first 15,000 fans on Saturday. And then a fleece blanket giveaway on Sunday afternoon in the series finale against the Twins. You probably haven't been able to need that too much this summer, but there will be a time, hopefully in October when the Rangers are in the postseason, that you'll need that blanket.
That's right. Absolutely. And, it's special nights like this that keeps up the camaraderie, right? The fans, how loyal are our Texas Rangers fans?
This has been a great year. I mean, we right now have the 3rd highest increase in attendance from one year over the next of any team in the majors. And the fans have been absolutely great in coming out. I think we've talked before that this ballpark, the way it's built and with the roof, and the noise that it kind of holds in, it's a great home field advantage for us. And the fans and the players notice the reaction of the fans this year. And of course, we've got this new section 133, which we're building it up, especially on Friday nights. And then they've got a big night out here on September 18th as we're getting ready for that last homestand. But the fans have been super this year, and they play a big role in the game. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Let's talk about some of the other things you've got going on this weekend. 2 very important commemorations. One, StandUpToCancer on Saturday, and then Military Appreciation Day. That hits home for both Kristen and me, and both topics.
Yeah, and the StandUpToCancer activation is a very important one. It is really over the 2 days, but on Saturday, after the 3rd inning, we will give cards to everybody in the stadium, the players in the dugouts, the umpires, and they will hold up a card for 30 seconds that says, "I stand up for a person that's been affected in their lives by that dreaded disease." If you watch the World Series or the All-Star games over the years, this is something that's done every year on those big Major League Baseball jewel events. And it really does have a huge meaning. I was in the American League dugout this year for the All-Star game when we did it. And it's a very, very poignant moment. Same with the military. Chuck Morgan and the group do a great job at recognizing military veterans and over the course of a whole season. And with the building of the National Medal of Honor Museum out here opening in 25, it's even going to be more special. And we're already kind of working on those kinds of activations to do during the All-Star week next year as well. So you're right, David. Very, very important things.
On top of that, you guys are always teaming up with Bluebell, which is a Texas staple as well. Talk about Texas fans and specifically why the Rangers have the best fans in the entire nation. We talked about attendance, but there's something special about here in North Texas and keeping it very Texan other than some other teams. What's the difference for us?
Well, as you all both know, I've been here a long time, and Ranger fans have been incredibly loyal over the years. And there have been some seasons here which, let's face it, have not been real good. Going back to when I first got here in the fall of 1984, and just the way they have supported this team over the years. Charlie Huff was on the fan this morning, with the KNC, and one of the things he mentioned was how great the fans were, during his time here in the 80s and early 90s, at a time when we didn't win a lot of games in those years. But it's just the way the fans in this market have always embraced the team, and that's in good years and bad. And there is a real sense of it being, we wear Texas on our jerseys, is the way we've always said it. And that really does resonate. And to a man, players that have played here will tell you at the end of their careers how much they enjoyed playing here, because of the fans and the way they've been accepted and the way they and their families have been treated in the community. So yeah, it's a big deal, and it goes way, way back.
You talk about Texas and the fact that one of the biggest TV shows in the country is filmed in Texas, even though it represents Wyoming and Montana. You've got Yellowstone themed nights coming up, and you also have Star Wars. I've got to talk about both of those. Talk to us about what's going on both Yellowstone and Star Wars night.
Well, for the Yellowstone night, you get, I am looking at that, I will be honest with you. It's a co-branded Rangers Yellowstone cap. And again, I am not a huge but it's a big deal here and everything. So that's what's going on, as I said, on Friday night. On Star Wars, you get a Star Wars on Saturday night. It's a Nathaniel Lowe themed Star Wars bobblehead. And if you've ever seen any of these kinds of bobbleheads and things that they do for these activations, they're very clever. The group that does these community theme nights, they do a super job at putting these together. And it's always fun to walk around the ballpark because it is a limited number that you get for these. I mean, it's a much smaller number, say, than the general giveaways. And it's always fun to walk around the ballpark and see the different items that people are wearing and everything.
On the desk right next to me, we've got the limited edition Elvis Andrus Lando Calrissian bobblehead just sitting next to us.
And those are things that we have done, for the last number of years. And it's just a different, we're kind of trying to relate to all audiences and all tastes and that kind of thing. You can come out to the ball game, you can have fun, get your Yellowstone hat or your Nathaniel Lowe bobblehead. And that's all part of it. It's all part of the fun and part of the entertainment of coming out to a Rangers game.
And the Rangers really do it right. I mean, for them to be right in the heart of the Metroplex there at Globe Life Field, continuing to build the camaraderie within the team and the players and the fans, that is, and the generations before us and to come. That's really special for us here in North Texas. We have the honor, David Rankin and I have the honor to throw out the first pitch on Sunday. I'm a bit terrified.
Do you have any tips for her
as
far as doing it right?
And you guys, you'll have to figure out how far you want to stand. If you don't want to be on the top of the mound, you guys will have to figure out when you get out there how far you want to throw it. And then the other one is you just want to aim high.
Do you have?
That is the thing. You just don't want to bounce it.
Absolutely.
We had the Mavericks first round draft pick out here, throwing out a first pitch a couple of weeks ago, Derek Lively the second. And he's like 7 feet tall.
Right.
And we told him, look, you need to aim high, but don't aim too high because you'll probably throw it 10 feet over the catcher's head.
Yeah.
His high is a whole lot different than anyone else's high.
But that's what you want to do. You just want to kind of aim high. and you'll be surprised that it won't go way high like that. You just don't want to bounce it. And as I said back in 2001, when President Bush threw out the very famous first pitch, as you know, before Game 3 of the World Series at Yankee Stadium, he was in the batting cage warming up, and Derek Jeter walked by and said, "Mr. President, just be careful you don't bounce it. They'll boo you."
Yeah.
And President Bush threw a perfect strike that night.
Of course he did.
One of the great first pitches.
He-
That would be my advice.
I love it. Thank
He used to be the owner of the Rangers. Of course, he's not going to bounce the pitch, especially in front of Yankee fans.
Like,
John,
I got
thank you.
this.
Yeah. John, thank you so much for the time.
All right, guys, I appreciate it. Good being with you.